Hey guys, it's Ariele. I totally wasn't planning on making a video today, but I'm on this hike, unplanned hike. I'm still in flip-flops because I wasn't planning to come onto this hike, but I've had my kids all week because they're in between school and camp, and I just dropped them off at a half-day camp, and I was like, oh my God, I realize I haven't been breathing all week. So, and I'm about to get my period, so there's that too. So I came on this little hike, realized I needed to be surrounded by trees and nature, and I wanted to share this beauty with you because it is just so magnificent. And it's been rainy and cold here, and it's 75 degrees and amazing. So yeah, I just kind of had that thought about that, about how we just kind of run around, and especially when women start to get into the whole infertility cycle. I don't even like to use that word, but it becomes like a headspace that we're in, that there's something we have to do, something that has to be done. Whether it's actual like text testing or appointments or sex even, it's almost like we get out of this breathing and being and just into what we have to do. And I was just thinking about how it's such a self-perpetuating cycle, because when women are coming to me in my fertility practice, so much of the energy I see when people come in is this kind of like stagnant liver energy, this like, it's I don't like to say masculine or feminine, but it's definitely not coming from like this like divine feminine space, which I feel like, I mean, I know we'll have a lot of conversations about this, but is so what's kind of going on in our culture now. And I do think it is from where this kind of epidemic of infertility is springing, that we're just constantly going, and when we're not, we feel either unproductive or lazy. So there's a way that when I work with a woman, and what I hope to be able to bring somehow through the internet is this kind of more focus on the energetic of being, and not just using that. Like, I talk to so many women many of my patients who are talking about their kind of, what do they call it? Their self-care program, or, what they do for themselves. And it almost has the energy behind it of like, well, I have to do yoga 5 times a week because that's what I need to do to be taking care of myself. And it still comes from that same energetic of this having to do, rather than really learning how to breathe and kind of be in our body. And I'm guilty of it too, for sure. Like, it's a constant reminder if I have a slow week where I'm not making as many sales or not getting as booked, or, it's easy for me to get into that headspace too. But what I try to do is remind myself that when I have that time that feels free, where I might feel like I'm being unproductive, that's actually often where I have the most kind of either profound insights, or I feel like I'm able to really connect most with my body, my own womb. So what I really hope to bring to you guys in the next few videos is really ways that we can connect to our body. And I'll walk you through some guided meditations. I have some guided meditations on my website. But basically what I do is that each phase of the cycle, when you're trying to get pregnant, or even when you're not, it's really good to be in touch with your phases in general. But each phase of your cycle is related to a different element. So for instance, when you're bleeding, that's related to the element of metal, which has to do with letting go. The fall is a great time to kind of work on getting in touch with metal, like to really imagine what it feels like in the fall. It's like a sense of ending, it's almost like that. More than any other time of year, I tend to feel nostalgic for time passing. If you think about the leaves kind of letting go, it's a release kind of a letting go of what's not serving us anymore, and when we can really drop into that during the blood phase. And I help you do that during the meditations, but that's what that time is about. And then next is the yin phase. So we could think of this as winter, the water element. And a lot of people actually think of winter as death, but it's actually the time of gestation. So during the yin phase, rather than gestating like an actual baby, I think of you as gestating and growing and creating your egg. So this tends to be a really intense time of creativity for women, even if you're not trying to get pregnant. But it's the time that we should be really nurturing our yin. And this is the time, this phase of the cycle before ovulation is where I see so many Western women having a hard time there, because this time is really when we're supposed to be kind of receptive and you know, focused on like nourishing this calm, deep, watery, emotional aspect of our being, and we have a hard time doing that. So this time I tend to, if women have high FSH, for instance, often during this time it's really where we need to be nurturing the yin. And if you're tracking your basal body temperature, this is often where you might get a sawtooth pattern where it's all over the place. Ooh, someone's coming. So yeah, so that's basically maybe she's trying to get pregnant too. Anyway, the next phase is the chi phase. That's when you're ovulating, and that has to do more with wood or liver energy. So often, a lot of times people ovulate late. This can be with that kind of energy gets kind of pent up, you know, that kind of like, it's almost like our energy stops flowing, and we need that burst of chi or energy to ovulate. And then the yang phase, which is correlated to the luteal phase, that's when we want to warm and nurture the yang energy, which is more warming and nurturing. And it's really important here to have like more cinnamon and ginger. And that actually brings me to my teas that I make for fertility. I have a tea for each phase of your cycle. I'm a Chinese herbalist, and I combine Chinese and Western herbs to make teas that really help your body kind of do what it should be doing during each phase of the cycle. I also have a detox tea that's really important, especially if you've been kind of living the standard, typical Western lifestyle of either alcohol or toxins or, you know, cleaning products. There's so many toxins. I mean, even if you're trying to be completely clean, have a clean lifestyle, you know, in plastics and everything we use pretty much, even if we're being conscious, has a lot of toxins. So I personally do a detox pretty regularly and drink detoxifying tea. So anyway, you could check out my website. I'm gonna be coming back at you with a lot more information, and feel free to leave questions in the comments, because this is so part of what I do and how I think that sometimes I don't even recognize what kind of information people want. So let me know, and I'm happy to share anything about you. The trail's getting a little busier, so I'm gonna go. Yeah, it's good talking to you, and hopefully this was a little helpful for you, and we'll talk more soon. Bye.